taking a really hard look at myself lately. I'm still quite mentally unstable right now, but to be honest, it's been a year since my channel almost is grown to 600 subscribers, and I need to get this off my chest. This isn't because someone forced my hand or because of a sudden public spectacle. It's because I spent the last week or two stepping away from everything and talking things through with my close friends and my therapist. And I want to be clear off the bat. None of us are involved are adults. We're all teenagers. We're just trying to figure things out, which makes the mess we've made even heavier. If you watch my content, it's really easy to fall into a specific narrative. I'm assuming people look at my channel and frame me as some kind of all-saint victim who has just been endlessly used, exploited, and wronged by everyone around me. And look, parts of that happened. The Ryder and Mal situations are literal crimes, and those videos and facts are gonna stay up because people need to be held accountable for that. But everything else, like nuance, the gray areas, the things I've handled poorly, that's what I need to talk about because I'm not an all saint. I'm actually far from it. I used to sit here, in private, and criticize others for turning into the exact kind of abusers they were trying to escape. I'd point fingers and call out the hypocrisy, but I was completely blind to the fact that I was doing the exact same thing. When people heard me, especially people I trusted, I didn't just walk away. That's very rare in that context. When I felt cornered, dismissed, disrespected, I used the side of myself that I genuinely hate. Recently, I went to some of my closest friends and reached out to them myself and asked them for the brutal, unfiltered truth about how I act. I wanted them to check me, and they did. I love them for that. It really is helping. They told me honestly that they sometimes walked on eggshells or keep things from me because they were terrified of how I'd react, scared that I would lash out. They didn't twist my words or say it maliciously. They said it because they care about me enough to be real. And I want to say a massive thank you to those close friends. I'm going to keep them anonymous, who gave me the honest reality check. They weren't and aren't bad-mouthing me behind my back. They were holding up a mirror because I asked them to. And hearing it, I can't lie, it hurt like hell. It really did. But it was true. My general behavior, the grudges, the intensity, and the way I handled conflict left a mark. I made people go to therapy. Let that sink in. People I had a messy history with ended up in counseling or therapy because of the sheer suffocating pressure of how I retaliated. I'm talking about situations with my past exes or people like Anonymous 1 and Anonymous 2. They are and will remain completely anonymous. But let's be completely clear, they are not saints. They hurt me deeply. They vented behind my back and failed to communicate like human beings. They caused real damage and trauma, but I didn't handle it maturely either. Instead of letting things go or setting a firm boundary and walking away, I went nuclear. When I was deeply upset, I let my anger turn into a campaign of control. I dug into their deepest insecurities. I used what I knew as ammunition to cut straight to the throat, and I wanted to make them hurt the way I hurt. At my worst, I let my trauma bleed out onto others in terrifying ways, drawing gore, carving the initials into my skin out of sheer obsession and pain, and wishing destruction onto those people. That isn't accountability. That is what we call a power struggle. And when you use psychological retaliation just to make someone bend to your reality, you stop being the person who was wronged and you start becoming the person holding the knife or the whip. I used to think my intensity was just a superpower for survival, but it's not, nowhere near how. It's a defense mechanism that turned toxic. I need to be transparent about where this comes from. I live under heavy conditions. I'm 16, I'm disabled, I survived severe trauma from a very young age, including grooming, SA, losing my mom, attempted suicide in the past, and struggling with self-harm. And the intense, terrifying reality of a West African authoritarian parenting household with corporal punishment scars and being thrown to the door by my father. I was forced to prepare my environment before I was even old enough to understand what a safe home looked like. But here is the genuine truth. Even with all of that in the background, I refuse to let my trauma go to anybody else. I can still be wrong. People are allowed to hate me. Oh, please do, because if someone did what I did, I'm sure as hell I would hate them too. I would go to therapy too. I'm not looking for pity, and I'm not trying to run a sympathy grab. I messed up. I, as Zeke, messed up. I was a genuinely difficult, harmful person in a lot of those conflicts. And owning that means accepting that people can be mad at me, people can hate me, and I can still be wrong. But where does that leave me now? For starters, I'm pulling back. I'm not looking to make new friends right now. My social battery is very low, and the risk of me accidentally bringing my baggage or my old defense mechanisms into fresh dynamics isn't fair to anyone. I'd rather isolate a bit, focus on my own life, my art, school, and my therapist, and drag people into a mess that they didn't ask for. As for Anonymous 1 and 2 and my exes, I'm still working through mixed emotions about them. Part of me still holds the anger, but I'm taking that directly to my therapist instead of making it everyone else's problem. How could I have done it better? I could have stopped needing to win. I could have stopped needing to prove a point or force someone to admit they were wrong. When someone shows you they are incapable of respecting you, the correct response isn't to tear down their defenses until they break, like I did in the past. It's to just drop the rope. It's okay to say, your behaviors are unacceptable. I am removing myself from your life. And then genuinely actually leave. You don't need to destroy someone to protect yourself from them. You just need distance. You don't need to wish death on your enemies or carve their names into your skin. If there's any message here for anyone else watching who might be stuck in a similar loop of trauma and retaliation, it's this. Don't become the monster that hurt you. No matter how justified your anger feels, do not let your pain turn into the exact kind of abuser you survived. Breaking that cycle starts the second look in the mirror and decide you'd rather take accountability than keep winning wars that leave everyone bleeding. Moving forward, I'm not setting a massive, unrealistic goal. I'm not pretending that I'm suddenly cured or that I'll never feel angry again or relapse. But day by day, I'm focusing on small steps, catching myself when I want to get defensive, allowing people to have different perspectives without feeling like I'm under attack, learning to communicate like a human instead of a tactical adversary. I'm extremely sorry to the people I hurt, even if it was a few. Maybe it was even more than that. And even if things are messy on both sides, even if I was hurt, I'm trying to fix what was broken on my end. Thank you for listening, and please take care of yourselves out there.